Got a couple of great guests here on KCMO as we continue from the KCK department. We've got Captain Osvaldo Navarro, the Hispanic Community Liaison, and Ryan Haydok, who is a wellness officer with KCK PD. Captain Navarro, let's start with you. We know KCK is a very Hispanic community. It's important to gain trust in that community. You may have people in the community who do not speak very good English, right? But you want to build the trust. So what's that like?
This is correct. So when Chief Oakman came over from KCMO, he approached me. He said, one of the main things that I want to get done is a Hispanic liaison. Would you like to do that? I was like, sure, yeah. Hey, there's a lot of Hispanic-speaking Spanish-speaking Hispanics in our population here. So where do we start? He said, well, I don't know. I said, okay, well, do you have a Hispanic liaison over there at KCMO I can get a hold of, and talk to him, get some ideas? No. So, okay. So he goes, well, it's all yours, just create something.
Figure it out.
So what we did was we created a live Facebook show because the Hispanic community really loved that social media platform. So we thought, what better way than to create La Hora con el Capitán. It's like an hour segment of just me doing live every first Wednesday of the month on our Facebook page of the police department. It's more of a platform to let the Hispanic community be able to contact us, communicate with us without feeling the intimidation of having to be in person. Whether
so the whole thing's done in Spanish. It's a Spanish broadcast.
It's a Spanish broadcast, and we give them tips and whatever's going on for the month. And then if they have any questions, they can approach us over social media.
And you saw the viewership go up over time on these?
It started getting quite some of our views have reached about maybe 13,000 views. So it's spread word of mouth, and then with there I created the Hispanic or the Spanish version of our Citizens Academy. So once a week they'd come for like 6-7 weeks, and then it's a 2-hour. It's almost like a college setting. I wanted like a classroom setting. I didn't want a Saturday afternoon with the police department because who wants to hang out with the police department on their Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, no offense. I mean, unless you're getting arrested, you don't really want to see the cops on Saturday afternoon.
It should be a good thing. So I wanted them to feel like, okay, this is where I have to go every Wednesday or every Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. So they'd come, and then we'd have different topics every week, and little by little, in the beginning it was a little tough to try to convince these folks that this is not a trap.
Exactly.
We don't care about your status. Just come. Hey, just get to know us. Come out of the shadows. Come join us in society. You don't have to always be under the radar. Come, and this is your police department. This is why we created this position that I am.
So what have you seen then? It's been 3 years since Chief Oakman got here, so I guess around then since you started this, we've seen homicides come down dramatically, and in a community that's, maybe 40% Hispanic?
Oh, it's up there. Yeah, it's up there. Yeah, USD 500, which is our local public school system. It's about 65% Hispanic.
Wow, it is?
Yes. Okay. So what I've noticed that the interaction is there's more interactions with the police department in the Hispanic community. I get a lot more, hey, el Capitan, and they feel more comfortable approaching us in uniforms because they know who I am. They know who. On my show, I have a sidekick. Her name is Wendy Medina. She works for right next door here for the victim services. She's the director of our victim services here in the police department. She's bilingual. She's Spanish speaking. So they recognize her and they realize, okay, they're not so bad after all. So not only has the interactions gone up, but the reporting has gone up. So they feel more comfortable being able to report. Because think about it. If for whatever reason they can't speak English or they feel like they have no voice, they become victims. Mm-hmm. And so they get targeted a lot more than anybody else because they know that they're not going to report anything to the police department. So now, little by little, the reporting has gone up, the trust has gone up, and the gang activity, Hispanic gang activity, has gone down. Now, I can't specifically say, because whatever numbers that's the reason why, but that has to be significant.
But it's got. It just makes sense. It's common sense, right? That the Hispanic community is more comfortable reaching out to the police. The Hispanic gangs are going to tamper down their business because they're fearful of being reported.
They can no longer target those victims that don't have a voice. Now they have a voice. Now they realize, okay, let me move my operation somewhere else, or completely just
Yeah.
They're not all gone, but it has gone down significantly.
I got to imagine too that listen, I'm a fan of, in any job you hire the best person. However, I do think in policing it would make sense that in a majority black community you have more black cops. In a Hispanic community you try to find as many as you can who look and maybe speak the language.
Right.
How important is that to try to find those people?
It is important. We have a lot of programs where we have juveniles that come through here, like the cadet program. Tommy's running a summer program right now for other juveniles, and for them, the Hispanic community that's Spanish speaking only, to see somebody like me, to see somebody like them, right? That sounds like them. Well, my Spanish is okay, but to sound like them and think, okay, he's in uniform, I can approach this guy. He's more approachable now. So it is important to be able to hire more diversity of Spanish-speaking officers to be able to plug in those holes that we have out there in the community.
I was thinking about it too. It's hard though. I mean, it's hard enough to recruit. Never mind, I need you to be bilingual too. I mean, is Rosetta Stone getting big in the in the department anywhere or anything like that?
It actually is. What's that? There's like another program that people start taking, and then I actually teach basic Spanish to the unified government employees, because we have a lot of employees here that come across the Hispanic community, and all they need is just the basics to get through what they need to get through, and I teach that maybe like twice a year.
Now, what about also, does this encourage those folks to assimilate and want to learn the English language? I mean, because I think that's a good thing too, right?
There's a lot of folks out there that say, well, won't they learn English? Don't you think they're trying?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But does this encourage them?
It
because
is.
If there's a comfortability with people like the cops,
Yeah.
you feel like you're part of the community, and then, I don't know, subconsciously would lead me to think that then you are more likely to want to learn English, too.
Absolutely.
In a weird way.
Oh, they sign up for classes. There's classes everywhere. There are churches. There's local groups that provide that free English, and they've been signing up. They want to learn. They want to be able to communicate and still, at the same time, kind of fly under the radar.
No. But I think that there's something subconsciously that could happen
Yes, sir.
with that. Well,
absolutely.
That's great stuff. Captain Osvaldo Navarro, Hispanic Community Liaison on KCMO. Great work. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Mama.
You bet. Now, we also have Ryan Haydok. He is a wellness officer, works under Chief Oakman. Ryan, good morning. Thanks for being on the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So take me through, I know what you do is you work with a lot of the cops who maybe have just gone through a traumatic situation, something's happened on the job, and that's become, everywhere we go, that's become a bigger part of the police departments that we talk to. There's someone out there to help these folks.
Exactly. A lot of police departments have created whole wellness groups, whole multiple people, peer support programs. Usually police departments have their own EAP program as well. We have one with the unified government. We have a peer support program, and usually that's a collection of officers that are within the ranks of the other police to have multiple people to go to, find somebody that they can confide in, somebody they could trust. And we're all bound by confidentiality. So anybody who walks in my office or speaks with one of the peer support officers should be comfortable speaking with them, so they don't have to worry about repercussion or, I don't want to get in trouble for, saying that, I'm not feeling right. And we should have that. We need healthy officers out there.
How much has that been, a growing part of the police where there's still the tough guy cop mentality? I'm fine. But it seems like it's changing a little bit everywhere I go.
It is. I feel like that stigma is starting to lighten up. The more you get younger officers rising up through ranks of command, they understand that mental health is a real thing and it should be taken seriously. So that stigma is slowly starting to fade away. So it's not very difficult, but it is something that I face. People don't want to admit that they have issues. Most people, regular people, don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of police are type A personalities. Some of them want to look tough, and not everybody can just push those things away and be okay.
Yeah. And how much of your job is not just talking to people when they want to talk to you, but also maybe recognizing, hey, I need to talk to this person.
Mm-hmm. So fortunately, we have a very supportive group of officers here, and typically I don't know every call that happens out there. I don't know what every officer is responding to, and most officers here, they know who I am, they know what my job is, and I get a lot of officers, commands, sergeants, captains, even majors reaching out saying, hey, these individuals were involved in this specific call. Do you mind checking on them, seeing if they're all right? And sometimes they'll ask if I checked, and I'll say yes or no, but outside of that, they don't hear anything else. The only people that hear anything are the ones that are speaking to me.
Yeah. How do you continue to create an environment where talking about mental health is not taboo, it's not frowned upon? What I know I'm sure it's a very slow process, but how do you continue to try to facilitate that and move that along?
Well, I think the biggest help is these officers, when they respond to serious calls, it's not uncommon for me to get a hold of them, and the more you do that, unfortunately, most officers here do deal with pretty critical incidents on a regular basis. So it's more of a trust-building situation. I try to visit roll calls as much as possible, link them up with help if they need it, and trust is key. If people don't trust that you're going to keep what they tell you to yourself outside of what they're willing for you to divulge for help, then the program is kind of non-existent at that point.
Yeah, trust is everything, right? Wow. Well, Ryan Haydok, keep up the great work. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great stuff. Ryan Haydok, Wellness Officer, and Captain Osvaldo Navarro on 95.7 FM KCMO.